to Webster Town Board meeting to order. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dolly, can you do roll call, please?
Supervisor Flaherty?
Here.
Councilman Abbott?
Here.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Present.
Councilwoman Wynn? Here. Town Attorney Genesi?
Present.
Okay, next up on the agenda tonight is the open to the floor, where any speaker who wants to take the podium for up to 5 minutes to talk about anything. I'm looking out, unless the beam is hiding somebody, which it's not, is... Sir, I know the other people here. Are you here for one of the agenda items? Gotcha. Then I don't think we have anybody who is here for the open mic session, so going once, going twice. Dolly, I think we're done with that. I actually looked over the December 1st minutes, our last formal board meeting, and they looked fine by me. Thank you, Dolly. I make a motion that we approve them.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
And actually, 2 board members looked at the purchase orders and bills this week. Councilman Kale and I got a chance to join him in that venture. So I'm going to make a motion that we approve the purchase order and bills.
Second.
For payment.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
And I did look at the prepaid warrants as submitted by the Director of Finance and make a motion that we approve and pay those.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
All right, Paul Adams, I think the next 2 are your bailiwick.
Yes, we have some budget transfers, followed by a couple of budget amendments. Just to hit the highlights on the expenditure side for the transfers, a couple line items were over budget. Material amounts, police overtime, and sports league subcontractors were a bit over. But some other line items were under. The police officer pay, which kind of makes up for the overtime. Employee retirement, parks and recreation equipment, and which actually has to do with the tractor purchase that we approved at the last meeting. And then the sewer sludge hauling was actually under budget. I also have revenue transfers. The revenue that's running a bit under budget is the interest and penalty on taxes, court fines, and fitness memberships. But I'm able to offset that by 4 different revenue items that are actually running better than what we anticipated. Those include mortgage tax, sales tax, interest earnings, and highway project revenue from Monroe County projects. Then on the amendment side, I'm moving $900,000 of ARPA funds to cover some of the costs that have come through for the wastewater treatment plant phase 2 project. And also there's actually $341,000 of CHIPS road materials that we're moving on. I think basically Pat's here in the audience, but I think Pat did more work on the CHIPS road repair permanent improvement side than was anticipated, so the revenue's higher. The expenses higher, I'm sorry. That's about it.
Board, any questions, comments?
No.
Okay. Make a motion to approve the budget transfers as presented by Paul Adams, the Director of Finance.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
And I make a motion to approve the budget amendments as presented by Paul Adams, the Director of Finance.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Okay, the next couple ones, I think, last Thursday, we had workshop presentations and discussion on these that kind of cascaded into this. Everybody met Christine Sepler last Thursday, and she is going to be the next Webster Town Justice in a little less than a month. So unless the board members have any questions or comments on this, I'm going to make this motion. And I'm going to, well, I don't, do you have any?
No, I just want to say that, we believe in the process and we follow the system. And we selected an exceptional Webster town judge. And I just want to say with all the wonderful candidates, that apply for the position to be our town judge, unfortunately, there's only one seat available. And we would like to thank all of them to take their time and consider to run for the town judge. And I wanted to say, may God bless everyone. Congratulations to Christine Sepler as our new town judge. And we believe with her dedication and devotion to justice, she would be a wonderful, excellent judge. And also, too, we will miss you, David, Judge Kotori, and thank you for all your work and dedication through the years for our community. And that's where life's worth living, in Webster. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny, and well said.
Well said is right.
Bill? Your name?
No, I think we've got a great candidate.
Patty?
No.
Okay. Charlie? Just so this goes in the minutes too, and hopefully Christine will see the video of this. Truth be told, I had some text back and forth with Christine late yesterday, early this morning, and I said more or less, Christine, you did me a solid by on short notice coming last Thursday and introducing yourself to the community. You don't have to come to tonight's appointment resolution. Certainly you're more than welcome to do so, but don't feel like you have to. So I hope she's not upset at the fact that Judge Kotori and Judge DeSalvo are here for this.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, you want to make sure I read
Make
it
sure somebody gets paid.
right. And when we're done with this resolution, I want to just describe a couple of housekeeping items, devil in the details, that will happen between tonight and what I assume will be midnight, 12 a.m. on Monday, January 9th, 2023. But let's do the motion first. I make a motion of the appointment of Christine Sepler as Webster Town Justice, effective at 12 a.m. midnight on Monday morning, January 9th, 2023, coinciding with Judge Kotori's resignation and retirement at the end of Sunday, January 8th, 2023.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Now, I was really happy we got through a robust process really last week and gave a month for Christine to get in and start working with Judge Dave and Judge Tom and the court clerks. That's invaluable time to work out things so she hits the ground running on January 9th, 2023. Some of the things that still need to be done, there's a robust oath book, as Judge DeSalvo explained earlier, that is got to be done at a couple of different places. We still have a swearing in formally for Christine. Am I missing anything?
There's a lot behind the scenes. We need to get her onto the bank, onto her own bank account, get the checks ordered.
Sure.
We got a bit of a goofy situation with a bank that I need to go sort out. And they want to make sure I'm gone before they have her, but
Sure. Well,
some fun stuff.
devil's in the details, and there's a lot of them to make sure it's done correctly, so. And Dave, I can't thank you enough for the fact that you really announced this about a year ago.
I announced it 2 years ago, but it was down.
You put it in the newspaper about a year ago,
Yeah.
you know, and then that has given us the time to plan this so that it will, I think, be pulled off without a hitch. And like Jenny said, we had 4 phenomenal applicants for this position. But only one person could get it, and I won't repeat what Jenny said. She said it very well, so. Okay, that's that. All right. Last week at the workshop, we talked a little bit about the Restore New York grant. The town is looking to, I think the deadline to apply. Matt Chatfield, the executive director of WEDA, is here tonight, so he'll correct me if I'm wrong. January 27th, 2023. Not to be a broken record of devil in the details, a lot of things have to happen in parallel as we dovetail to that date. Actually, Josh Artuso is very involved in this too. One of the items that we're going to be doing a motion on is the advertising of a public hearing, identification of properties, at least tentatively we're looking at. So before I read this motion and make this motion, does the board have any comments or questions on this?
It's just been a long time coming.
Yeah.
Quite a few years we've been working on this.
Yeah.
I just want to perhaps comment, because I know it caught my eye. Part of the resolution is municipalities defined as cities, towns, and villages have been invited to submit a request for funding proposal for any project to, and this is what caught my eye, demolish, deconstruct, rehabilitate, and/or reconstruct vacant, abandoned, condemned, and surplus properties. I think we probably want to assure people that we're not looking to flat out demolish anything. Would that be right? And as the devil in the details, we don't want people reading into it that that's our intent. But it's just the way the funding proposal reads, to include any possibilities.
And certainly, you know, Matt and/or Josh, would you want to take the podium and any further explanation or questions from the board that, you know, before we do this? I'm totally open for that. Matt, don't take the succulent off the podium, by the way.
Matt Chatfield, Executive Director of the Webster Economic Development Alliance. I'd be happy to answer any questions, but that is correct. Should we be successful in obtaining funding for the Webster Furniture Strippers building, as of right now there may be some partial demolition, but as of the assessment from a structural engineer of the property, it's salvageable. So the intent is not to fully demolish that building.
All right.
And I just would like to add one caveat. The listing in the publication needs to be for 3 consecutive days. So I just want to make sure that that's understood. It has to be published.
Once a week?
3 consecutive days from the date of publication. So
Okay.
How do we do that with a newspaper that comes out once a week?
It'll be on the website.
Yeah, it'll be digital-wise, will be fine.
Is that acceptable?
it either in print or online. So as
Okay.
long as we can prove that
Yes.
it was published for 3 consecutive
Well,
days.
the prior one was done similarly,
Three
correct?
And that was
online, 3 consecutive days?
Yeah, I mean, that's the wording, and we have to prove publication with a copy or some sort of affidavit signed by the publisher that we have done so.
But the publisher of the website would be the town of Webster, so we would be acknowledging that we are publishing it on the website 3 days in a row?
I think we would need clarification if the town website would be sufficient.
Would you be able to accept an affidavit from the town clerk saying I published it, it was on the website for 3 days?
We can look at the We can look at the language. Obviously, it's not me accepting it, right? It's
Okay.
Empire State
But
Development.
is
so-
it, we must have gone through this before.
Yes.
Okay. So whatever,
I'll
see what we did last time, we'll just repeat it.
I'll make sure that I'll send Dorothy the actual page that discusses that, and then you guys can make an interpretation of what you need to do.
All right, well, I'm gonna let this rip. I make a motion to schedule a public hearing for January 12th, 2023.
Yeah, we could cover ourselves.
Here in
We
the
can find out.
town board room at,
Because obviously we did something before.
I need to give a time, because that is a workshop night, so I'm gonna say 5:30 PM. Let's start again. Motion to schedule a public hearing for Thursday, January 12th, 2023 in the Webster Town Board meeting room, starting at 5:30 PM on pursuing Restore New York funding for West Webster Hamlet revitalization, specifically properties located at 600 Ridge Road, tax ID 078.20-1-11, prominently known in this town as the old Webster Furniture Strippers. 602 Ridge Road, tax ID 078.20-1-16. 603 Ridge Road, tax ID 078.20-1-68. 1041 Gravel Road, tax ID 078.20-1-84, and 1043 Gravel Road, tax ID 078.20-1-83, to be published in the Wednesday, December 28th edition of the Webster Herald, and at least 3 consecutive days thereafter on the Town of Webster's website. That is my motion.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Okay. Next up, I am assuming when I said, are you Mr., is it Turco? Okay. By all means, come on up to the podium.
Good evening.
How are you? And I just want to make sure that, okay. So, is it Dave Turco?
Yes.
Hi, Dave. How are you? We have it in the packet here, the town board members have gotten, basically what you're trying to do is you have a shed
Correct.
right now that is there,
It's there in the sewer easement.
right?
Correct.
And that is not, fences, sheds, things in our town easements, it's not, it happens, it doesn't happen that often, and you can't, as you probably know, you can't go to the zoning board to get a variance on that. You have to come to the town board to get what's called
I'm
approval
aware
on a
of-
licensing
yes.
agreement. The reason I say this is that this is the first time since I've been supervisor that usually when these license agreements come by the town board, the department head, sometimes it's Pat Stevens is the highway superintendent on drainage easements. In this case, Art Patron, who runs the sewer department, gives a letter of recommendation to the town board on having reviewed the infrastructure and this and that. That shed's not going to be a problem. David, I don't know if I'm being the messenger to you tonight. Mr. Patron's letter is recommending we don't grant a license agreement.
Okay.
Did you know that?
I did not.
Okay. I had a feeling you might not. And I picked it up tonight around 5:30 when I read the packet. So this makes for an interesting situation. I am not advocating at this point that we say, hey, in the current structure, the shed is in our easement, either you destroy it in the next 2 days or we'll come out and destroy it. I am not advocating for that, okay? I think we have to do a little bit more research. I want to get with Mr. Patron Patty, you may be involved in this as you are the liaison to the sewer department. We need to understand a little bit more, where is the sewer main? Maybe do some, if it goes right underneath the shed that you built, and you're shaking no,
It doesn't.
we don't have anything that shows that.
Okay.
So, geez, Charlie, I don't even know what to call, are we tabling this application because we need more information, or?
Well, you can do one of two things, well, three things. You can approve it, you can deny it, or you can table it for further consideration. Yeah. So you could table it if you want. If you did deny it, then the application would just be made again, I guess.
I just want to say that we do have a letter from Mr. Turco describing that the shed is not placed directly on top of the sewer pipe, but 5 feet away, with enough space around the area for an excavator to dig. But then our patron, our Deputy Commissioner of Public Works, is refuting that, saying that there really isn't enough space. It would be difficult and time-consuming to remove in the event of a sewer emergency. So his feeling is that there is not enough space, although it does not run directly on top. So, as the supervisor said, this isn't usually the way these things go. But it is a substantial shed with a poured concrete base,
Correct.
which I think might complicate things a little bit. But I do think we need to look at it more carefully.
I did call for a stakeout of the utilities, and they did come and mark the pipe, and it is 5 feet away from the shed. And what's interesting is that where the easement ends is also 5 feet away from the pipe.
Although you called for a stakeout, did you apply for a permit?
Oh, sorry?
When you called for the stakeout, did you apply for a permit within the town?
No, I did not.
Okay.
And I'm understanding that you didn't call for a stakeout in parallel with going
No.
to build the shed.
No.
The shed you built, and then when this came up, you went for a stakeout to see where was the
Right.
pipe.
The reason I did not apply for a permit is because in 2012 I applied for a variance, and it was granted to put a shed, given not in that spot, but within the back.
Yes.
So I didn't realize that I needed to get another permit this time around.
Okay. Yeah, I know about that, where you had gotten the variance 10 years ago was in the back area near the pool. This is more on the side. I would suggest that we table this pending more information. But like I said, Charlie, I mean, you gave us the litany of things. I'd rather not deny it outright and reapply, but, and some of that is just form over function. But, I would rather have not you come in here and find this out as the messenger.
Okay.
But,
Are you going to table it sine die?
oh, what does that Latin term mean, Charlie?
Which means without a date. In other words, basically, it's until you have the
Yes.
information you need.
Yes.
I just wanted to use that phrase for your edification.
That's great, but, maybe, do I need to read that into the motion? Because you're going to have to say it
I think
again.
you can just table it.
Okay.
Without a date.
Yes, because I don't think we can commit to the January 5th board meeting or the January 9th, because we need to sit with Art and make sure we understand everything here.
It will also be in touch with you, letting you know how that's going and when we're.
Thank you, Patty.
When you want to
Okay.
come in for,
Yes.
to get it on the agenda. Again, we're not going to leave you hanging.
Okay.
So I'm going to make a motion to table the application for license agreement for utility shed within the sanitary easement located at 819 Houston Road, tax map ID 063.20-2-18.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Thank you.
Holidays.
You too. Thank you.
Okay, this was another one that we had at the next agenda item was at the workshop last week. We talked about it for 2 minutes. Board really seemed to understand any changes or additional fees to the various departments for 2023. So any questions or comments before I make this motion?
No.
I make a motion to adopt the 2023 Town of Webster fee schedule and the Parks and Recreation Center and Lodge facility fee rates.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Pat, didn't we do this one at the workshop last week? The next two? No, just this. Yes, the next two.
No, the next two.
Paul Chatfield from MRB and you gave the presentation last week to the board and said that Paul gave a very nice description of what seeker meant.
Yes.
With that being said, town board members, any questions or comments before these next two? Okay. I make a motion to designate the town board, the town of Webster, to act as lead agency for the highway facility project.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
And I make a motion to accept the highway facility project seeker determination of significance.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Should we add that it's type 1 action?
We certainly should,
Okay, second.
as described
Aye.
last week.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye. Thanks, Patty.
You're welcome.
Well, I'm not gonna read this motion, but I know that this was gone over by the board months ago. And I know, Charlie, you have been working with the release with Bayer's attorneys. Is that
Correct, that is correct.
And
And with the town engineer and with Mr. Adams, finance director.
because it didn't just happen last week that we talked and presented about this, I appreciate that the town board members may have some questions, comments about this, so.
My only comment is that I thought it had already happened.
Yeah, I did too, but,
So I'm glad to see that it's being finalized and tied up.
Jenny, anything? Bill?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Patty? If you wouldn't mind?
Oh, sorry. I move to authorize the town supervisor to sign a mutual release to settle a contract dispute in the amount of $70,869 with Bear Landscape Architecture, PLLC.
Second.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye. Pat, did you want to talk about these next two resolutions?
I can, and I told Dolly that I would, so. Yeah, so I looked into these a little bit. These are proposals from Monroe County for, in the first instance, no parking signs. I looked up where these were just to give you guys an idea of what's happening. So the set of no parking signs in the first section near Stony Creek and Farview are actually in the vicinity of the Hojack Trail. It used to be the overhead crossing, the trestle crossing, which is now a crosswalk. The trail slopes down and comes through there. There's also some large retaining walls associated with that along Lake Road in that area. So it looks like the proposal of these signs is to keep people from using that as a trailhead, as the shoulders on the road are wider than they were, but they're not wide enough for parking. And I think the concern is to be able to control it if they start to see vehicles in an unsafe location along that roadway, being near the wall or parked to try to access the trail. That's not the intent of that area. So that's what these no parking signs are. The footprints are within 1,000 feet of that crossing, which encompasses the walls and the trail. And then I'll just go ahead and do the second one so we don't have to have any breaks. And the other one is actually the no parking and no standing signs associated with Sandbar Park, which is the county road running along Lake Road. They will be putting regulatory signage on there for no parking per our plans that were designed by Bayer and Passero. So these are the signs that go along with both the handicap and no standing areas of the park. That's the number 12, the second one.
Sure.
So that's what they are.
Yeah.
If you have any other questions, I can try to answer them, but these are county signs on a county road, but it
Sure.
affects the Webster residents, so I wanted to give you guys a little explanation.
I'm glad.
Thank you for that.
You give it. Any questions, comments, Jenny? No? Patty?
Nope.
All right, I make a motion to consent to the placement of a traffic control device by the Monroe County Department of Transportation pursuant to authority granted by section 1651 and 1652A of the New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law at the following location. Traffic regulation north side, no parking sign. Its location, Lake Road, 70 feet west of Stony Creek Run to 1,090 feet west of Stony Creek Run. And a traffic regulation south side, no parking sign, the location being at Lake Road, 303 feet east of Fairview Circle to 1,526 feet east of Fairview Circle.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
And I make a motion to consent to the placement of a traffic control device by the County of Monroe Department of Transportation pursuant to authority granted by section 1651 and 1652A of the New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law at the following location. A south side handicap parking sign, the location Lake Road, 880 feet west of Bay Road to 854 feet west of Bay Road. And a south side no standing sign at a location on Lake Road, 828 feet west of Bay Road to 729 feet west of Bay Road.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
And last but not least, I just signed off on this title. Does anybody have any questions about this?
We are receiving an insurance settlement. That might be a question. I think it's approximately $16,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the dump truck was totaled. Unfortunately.
And it happened a while back.
Yeah, at least 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I think they thought they could repair it at one point.
That's what I was
Back and
told.
forth,
Yeah,
when they had to adjust the insurance claim.
yeah. Okay, thanks, Paul.
No problem.
Any questions or comments? Well, this, I think, Dolly, is the last motion resolution of 2022. I make a motion to declare the following item as damaged / totaled from the Parks and Recreation Department, a 2015 Ford 550 dump truck, asset number 5937.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi? Aye. Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
And that concludes the board meeting for tonight and for 2022. So, Bill, who's Thursday Night Football tonight?
Don't know.
Oh, jeez, that's right, the Bills are. Don't you wish we would have had a quick meeting like this a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe this will be the night. I'll turn on the phone, but while I turn on the phone, why don't we go around for the last board meetings round, the bend of anything that you want to say, and Pat, we'll start with you.
Okay, obviously leaf pickup is over. Well, not obviously, leaf pickup is over. It might not be obvious. Winter weather is coming in, but overall that operation went very well. And the guys have been preparing the trucks and equipment in the yard for the last week or so. And we are ready to go. Sounds like we might get some winter weather later this week and into the weekend. All the equipment is ready, plows are on, salters are ready to go, so we're ready to go out there and keep the roads safe as soon as the weather comes. We're in very good shape. I'm very pleased with the guys' effort and that they got a little bit of time to work on the equipment instead of using it, which is pretty much go, go, go all the time, all summer. Well, all year round, all summer, all fall, and definitely when it snows in the winter. So we're in great shape with that. still moving forward with the design of the new building. We're very happy to start to see some schematic level plans, 25-30% plans. That's great to see. Just starting some coordination on that, so that's really exciting for us and the guys to start to see some of this stuff in print, as it's greatly needed to continue to offer these services that we do. So we're happy to be moving along with that, as well as being ready for winter.
Thanks, Ben. Josh?
Yeah, so we're in the process of finalizing the scope of work for the comprehensive plan update that we hope to launch in early 2023. So I'd just like to urge any resident that hasn't already taken our initial survey. It will be online, available at the library and rec center until December 31st, at which time we'll be closing it officially, and then providing the results to whatever consultant we ultimately end up hiring. So I just urge anyone that hasn't taken that, they could find the link to it on our website. I think to date, we have a little over 2,000 respondents, which is pretty good, but we'd always like to have more, so.
Paul?
Things have been busy in the finance department, just getting ready for the year end. It's hard to believe another year is coming to a close. I've also been working on a 5-year budget, which will give us a good look at things through 2028. It'll help us manage our costs and try to minimize any tax increases along the way. So I hope to have that done soon. Other than that, everything's good.
It's going to be a workshop presentation in the first quarter probably of 23, yeah? Yeah. Well, right. A lot of projects going on in town. I think we do need to look at the next 5 years and what that looks like. Jenny?
Okay, and I just want to wish everyone in our communities, a very happy and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I'm so honored and privileged to be part of this team, and to be elected. And I just, and also I'm very honored and privileged to be a liaison for the Webster Public Library and Museum, and also the clerk. And I wish everyone have a wonderful and happy holidays.
Thanks, Jenny. Bill?
Well, this year's come to a close. I've got one more to do.
And
Looking forward to next year.
And right into chairing the comprehensive committee, right?
I'm afraid that's not going to happen.
You know I beat a horse dead on that.
Yeah, I know you did.
Yeah. Patty?
I just want to wish everyone in Webster happy holidays, whether it be Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever it is you celebrate, may it be joyous. And I also want to take the opportunity to thank all of our employees across the town for the excellent jobs that they do, and I think that they make our job easier. I want to thank them for that.
Yeah. My Latin professor?
Well, obviously, I want to wish everyone Merry Christmas and Happy New Year as well. But I also wanted, from my perspective, as a longtime town attorney and having worked with a lot of department heads and a lot of personnel and a lot of town board members, I want to just let the people of Webster know that they are and have been very well served. This has been a great pleasure for me to work with all these great people over all these years, and they've done well by the town. The town has been well served, is being well served, and I don't think I can add much more to that.
That's great. And I usually don't say anything. I thought Jenny was going to say it or Patty, but I would be remiss before we go to Dolly to Saturday, the 17th in the morning, Wreaths Across America.
It's at noon.
It's at noon.
Yes.
That's morning for me on the weekend.
Okay.
I think 3,000 wreaths?
No, 650.
600.
See, I have a numbers problem.
Yes.
That's what Sherry Wood wants to get to in years to come.
Yes, she's starting with the
Right.
one cemetery because it's the first year.
Right, so it's highly publicized, but I'd be remiss. I know some of the board, we're going to be there helping put wreaths on veterans'
Yes,
gravestones.
and
So,
thank you for their services too.
Dolly.
Okay, so the collection of town and county taxes will begin on Friday, December 30th. We will start collecting. Town and county tax bills will be mailed out on December 29th, so if residents if they have not received their tax bill by the end of the first week in January, please contact the office. We'd be happy to send one out electronically or mail it, whichever they prefer.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap for this year and this meeting.